Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Lockbeard Random Live. Um, Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Lockbeard decided to Random Live. Just go ahead and get on tonight. Hello, everyone. If you may notice, I pick some kind of subject to put on the thumbnail and to start out with. And a lot of times there's more meaning to it. When we're looking at the TV show Firefly, I think it does. I don't think Joss Whedon meant for it, but it kind of happened. The show the theme song, from my understanding, was he kind of built the show around the theme song. This like they didn't even really have the script written or anything. He just something about that song grabbed him. You can't take the sky from me. The show is kind of all about freedom. And so it lasted for one season. You have you have a captain who I'll try and break down some of it. In the show, the history before the show starts, there is a war. This is after humanity had to leave Earth. They had destroyed Earth, and they had to go to another solar system that had lots of planets in it. So there were people on all these different planets and moons. And there was the formation of an alliance government. They just referred to it as the Alliance. But they were kind of tyrannical, and people got upset and formed the Independents, and they fought a civil war. The Independents lost. The main character is the captain of the ship, and his name is Malcolm Reynolds. He fought for the Independents. So now he's just trying to make his way. He's using his ship to transport things, and he's just trying to stay away from the authorities, and he just don't want to deal with government or any of that crap. The reason why I think there's more behind, the show, it got canceled after one season, and they say, they always say this, so there wasn't enough viewers and stuff like that. I kind of wonder if the show struck too close to home, because if you extrapolate, if you say, look, the Alliance kind of represents the Union government, the United States federal government, and the Independents kind of represents the South, the Confederacy. And it was the same thing there, right? The South lost, and now we're stuck with a tyrannical federal government. They're somewhat in check. They can't get totally out of control, but they are corrupt. And the show, in a way, portrayed that, and I think somebody possibly didn't like that. They didn't want people to make that connection, and it got shut down. Now, luckily, Joss Whedon at least was able to push through a movie to kind of semi-conclude the series anyway. But I think this show was one of the best sci-fi shows that has ever been, because you know it was just a great show. It was there's no aliens or anything like that. Um, it kind of merged the kind of an old west kind of thing with a space faring civilization. So they'd go to some of these planets, and these people would be basically cowboys and farmers and stuff. And it was probably the best merger of an old west with future space sci-fi kind of thing in a show that I've ever seen. Others have kind of tried, but they really did it well, because you go to all these planets and they don't get all the resources everybody else does necessarily. They have to live off the land. Welcome, Big Rob. How's it going with you tonight? Just kind of starting off talking about the TV show Firefly. So yeah, Liberty was the big thing in this show. It was a sci-fi show, but it was really all about liberty and trying to stay ahead of a corrupt government. And I think that when a show like that gets hits too close to home, somebody somebody gives somebody a call and says, look, that show needs to go away. There's been some other shows that this has happened, and I can't prove that happened, but you got to ask yourself the question. What was the I know the name of the show. There was a show. I'm not usually big on military shows, but there was one called Last Resort, and for some reason I started watching it. It was a great show, but they cut it off after the first season, and I can't imagine why. It was a good show. Why do these good shows get taken down? In the show Last Resort, it's a nuclear submarine, and they get an illegal order to fire on, I think it was Pakistan, to fire a missile at Pakistan, and the captain was insisting on going through the proper channels. They were communicating with him in the wrong way. They were trying to do it secretly or something. Anyway, he ended up taking a stand. He found he took the submarine to a place where they could monitor all missiles being fired to make sure they weren't being fired upon, and they ended up firing one at Washington D.C. because the government was trying to take them out. And anyway, I don't think our government would have been happy with that show. I think they would have not liked people seeing a story about a scenario where some of our military men were able to do the right thing by commandeering, in effect, the military assets to take a stand against a corrupt federal government. But yeah, that show got shut down after the first season, and I'm sure they'll say it didn't have enough viewers too, but whatever. Another sci-fi show, which this one probably wouldn't be a lot of people's cup of tea. It was, some of the aliens were Jim Henson style puppets, but I liked the show, and that show got shut down. It had, in the show, there's this peacekeeping force is created, They just call them the peacekeepers in the show. But the peacekeepers end up becoming a powerful tyrannical regime that everybody doesn't like. And well, is that striking too close to home with UN peacekeeping troops? Right? Well, they don't do any peacekeeping, really, do they? They go and they blow people up, right? They go and, are they the real warmongers? They say we're keeping the peace. In reality, they're just enforcing their control over people. So yeah, the Farscape was the name of that show. It got shut down. There just seems to be this pattern to me, and I don't like it because a lot of times it's shows that I like, and I don't like them getting shut down. I don't like our entertainment being filtered by the government. I think they are. I can't prove that, of course, but I mean, come on. These guys are all about maintaining pretty strict propaganda with the media, and if people can't tell that all the media, it doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, all the media is twisting things one way or another. So, that's what I think is going on. And right now, in last few years especially, it seems like they've been trying to push certain social ideals, if you can call them ideals, that to my mind are destabilizing to our society, creating contention where there doesn't need to be contention. They want to make you think, the R word, the ism. I don't know if I want to say it. There's YouTube don't like you saying certain words, and I know I say some of them anyway, and I'm just surprised I haven't got shut down yet. But people were pretty much over it. The Triple K Club was just kind of a joke to everybody, the few that remained, and anyone that's paying attention knows that usually when you got a guy standing up saying some of the most horrendous things in public, he turns out to be a government agent infiltrator of the group, trying to stir them up and trying to make it look like they're still a thing. They really aren't. Okay, but they want you to think there's this huge R-ism issue still alive, and people are like, we don't really care. We got over that like decades ago, pretty much, but they keep stirring it up. That was the whole purpose of President Obama, or one of the purposes, was to stir up tensions between the different groups. And they've succeeded. Mark, welcome. He says, good day, Lockbeard. Will be in and out as having some work done on my house at present. Cool. Welcome. Just doing a random live. So, I think most people, older people, are pretty much aware that they're just, I'll just say racism. It was pretty much over. Okay, people there's a few around, but it's pretty much a thing of the past, and they've just keep on trying to rip the scab off the wound and get people all pissed off. They need us to be fighting each other all the time, which is not very hard to do because humans are geared to fight each other. That's what we're supposed to do. But what we don't need is the government purposely stirring up fights that help them, in whatever agenda they're up to, and help them to control us. They need to just kind of mediate and that kind of thing. But we don't need the government taking advantage of our nature. They need to be just kind of trying to do their legitimate functions under the circumstances of dealing with humans. And humans are supposed to fight. That's just the way we're geared. We're try telling deer not to run their antlers together, right? That's what they're supposed to do. Competition within the species is necessary to maintain fitness, to maintain the strength of the species, the intelligence of the species. So it's not that I'm anti-conflict. I see why it's there and why it would be completely it would be wrong to try and establish a completely peaceful society and a completely peaceful world, because it would be sabotaging the fitness of our species. We kind of need to learn to just swim in the waters of war, but just don't try not to let things just get totally out of control. Like World War II, things could have gotten out of control from the one side. It was just too big. World wars is kind of not really what I'm talking about. That's not something we have. What we had in our history was a tribe fighting a tribe, typically. That's really what we're supposed to do. These huge, large-scale wars using modern weapons of unspeakable power is not really what I'm talking about. Mark Dodman says, I have seen a couple of videos of Charlie Kirk and Candace Owen discussing CRT and white privilege. Yeah, they want to convince us that we're racist no matter what we do. No, that we're just inherently that way. Meanwhile, the ones we're supposed to be hateful towards are extremely hateful towards us. And I've experienced that my whole life. That it's totally okay for them, apparently, to hate us just for being. Heck, I've heard some of them talk about how they have conflict amongst themselves based on who's got the lightest skin and the darkest skin. Like they have conflict between light and dark skinned black people. Now, this is, again, I think it's just human nature. Human nature is to fight over things. And it doesn't have to be skin color. It can be any number of things. But it just appears that skin color is an easy one, for people to divide each other by. I also think that when someone, and they're not conscious of it, but if you think about these things, you'll become conscious of it. After listening tonight, you might be conscious of it. Is that people when they look at someone that's different from them, somewhere deep down in their DNA, there's a little instinctual voice saying this person's not a member of my tribe, therefore I don't know if I can trust them. They may be invading our territory, trying to steal some of our resources, getting into our, hunting grounds. And so, right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, I think that's part of our DNA. So, the fact that we have been able to become so incredibly peaceful towards one another in America, with such a wide variety of different peoples, in such highly populated, and people will argue about, we're not overpopulated. We are extremely overpopulated, but under these conditions, you would think we'd be killing each other all over the place. But we have managed to intellectually overcome any kind of the instincts, for the most part, to fight under these circumstances. It's amazing that the crap that they've been pulling for the last year and a half hasn't created a complete outbreak of just war, just like the Middle East. In America, some people were getting ready for it, and in some places there was some fighting, just little. But we really endured some crap, and managed to remain very, very peaceful for the type of creature that we are. We've been very, very peaceful with each other, so Big Rob says he's ready. Yeah. And the media was trying so hard to demonize like the Proud Boys, right? And trying to claim, I saw like a news reporter interviewing their director, their leader, and trying to pull all this white supremacist crap, talking about the Proud Boys. But she's talking to their leader, and he's a Latino. It's just it's ridiculous. It right there on camera, and all the news reports. I mean, the media's, I don't know if they're just morons or if they're doing this crap on purpose, but like they would be standing there saying it's mostly peaceful protests, and then there'd be shit burning in the background. I mean, sometimes I wonder if they do this stuff on purpose. Are they this stupid? I mean, if I'm going to say mostly peaceful protests, I'm going to be standing out in front of a peaceful protest instead of, having crap burning in the background. 20 years ago, that event that took place in September, that, if I say it, could be another flag. There, I don't know. There's definitely something fishy about the event, and people get mad. Some people get mad when you say that. They're like, because they believe the official story, right? I do not believe the official story. And they're look deeper. But I don't know if this was legit or not. But supposedly there was like a news reporter reporting that the buildings had collapsed, but behind the news reporter you could see the building still standing. You know what I mean? Just following the script because they were, they already knew that the buildings were going down. It was a controlled demolition kind of thing. I don't know, but something is definitely fishy about it. Sharon Guy's here. Welcome. She says, "Hey guys, saw you on Lockbeard. Just wanted to say hello. Going to bed. It's been a long day. Later. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. You too." Yeah. Yeah. I was still wide awake. I figured I'd jump on, do a random live. For anyone watching now or in the future, I've been trying to be more, try to say so and be more clear about what the difference is. Like random live, is could happen at any time, and could cover all kinds of subjects. Politics, science, pop culture, whatever. And on Saturday night is Lockbeard Phenomena, which is paranormal, high strangeness, cryptids, that kind of stuff. But we can talk about that stuff on random lives too. That's up to you guys if you want to bring it up in chat or have something in particular to talk about. I'm sure some of you were watching Squatch Talk earlier, and it was an interesting show. There were some names dropped of some people and channels that are full of shit. Uncle Bones is here. Welcome. Says Lockbeard. That was an English TV channel. She was standing in front of a building that came down several minutes later. So it was legit, or what do you know for sure? Because I don't put it past them. I think it was definitely pre-planned, and our government was involved. There's too much that indicates that, and like I said, there's been people that have gotten all seriously pissed off at me for saying something like that. You'd think I freaking killed their dog or something, or worse. And I'm like, look, you need to look closer. Look at the 9/11 report. All the look at the there was firefighters who were demanding further investigation, and look at that whole situation where you had those Israeli Mossad that were like hanging out on top of a building with cameras waiting for the event to occur. In fact, I think, as I recall, because they were captured, right? The cops caught them, and that they told the cops that they were there to witness the event. Like they knew it was going to occur. Some people can't handle the idea that our government's willing to kill us to achieve their goals. They will flat out murder thousands of Americans, and I think they did on that day. Bones. Yeah. Totally. Not necessarily saying everyone in the federal government knows and is involved. I'm sure there's some people who, maybe there's a few senators that aren't in the in crowd. But definitely, I think originated with our own government, and a lot of people can't handle that. Bones, the nickname of a certain doctor on a certain TV show. So I don't know. I mean, did any of you watch the TV show Firefly? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people watched it and didn't make the connections I made. Like, I definitely think it correlates with the Civil War, the outcome of the Civil War, and I equate the alliance with our federal government with the Union, and the independence with the Confederates, and it shoot, Mao's closest friend worked with him on his ship, and she's a black woman, and she was independent. Perhaps an indication of the fact that it didn't, the Civil War didn't really have anything to do with slavery. That wasn't the issue. The federal government's full of shit if they have implied that it was what it about. What it was about was maintaining power over the states that left. They wanted control back. The federal government had no problem with slavery before the Confederacy seceded. Okay, it was there, and then I think I talked about this a little bit like last night. I think it was, or the night before. Yeah, but and anyone that was paying attention knew that technology was catching up and making slavery obsolete, at least in the way they were using it. And the abolitionist movement was alive and well in the South, and it was going to end anyway. It was over. And I think, and I don't know how well I can make the case, but I think that the Civil War actually delayed civil rights by decades. I think the civil rights for black people would have happened earlier if the Civil War hadn't happened. But they created this situation of this animosity, and a lot of bad feelings after that. A lot of people lost their family. A lot of dark things were done during that war, and it created long-lasting division amongst the people on this continent that could have been minimized by the federal government at the time, the Union government, trying to negotiate peace with the South, coexistence, trade, and instead, war. Hiveless, you were over at Theoria Apophysis channel watching Ken. How's it going? Welcome. I do these random lives and just talk about whatever random topics, politics, science, pop culture, whatever whatever floats your boat. Um, how'd you like that discussion? Every freaking live stream. Yeah. Every freaking live. I don't know if it's every live stream. Every live stream, people get him talking about his ex-girlfriend and his wife, and I've heard it so many times, and I want him to talk about science. I saw someone in there was like, would y'all stop asking about his wife? Yeah, Hiveless. I looked a little bit into them some years back because they were making some pretty crazy claims, and confirmed confirmed it was pretty ridiculous. Why do you bring them up? Are you a follower of the mud fossil people? Meditation is evil, huh? Why do you say that? I know Ken says it doesn't refer to anything. You're just sitting there. I don't know, I don't know how much that's true. I know that Ken has see years ago I saw some problems in some areas of science, some little issues, and I was looking for some kind of answer because somebody's got to be on the right track because something's wrong with a certain corner of mainstream science. And somehow I stumbled across Ken, and I was like, that's the guy who's got it. And he's like trying his damnedest to tell people, what's wrong with quantum physics and all that good shit. You mean about meditation is evil? I didn't hear him say that. I heard, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of a person that, like, my thought is morality is not universal. So when someone says something is evil, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that's an objective assessment necessarily, because it may be good to other people. It depends on what culture you're in, what norms your society has. Are you aware of the Michelson-Morley experiment? A little bit. Why do you bring it up? I know Ken brings it up sometimes, but it's been years since I even remember looking at that. I don't know. If people just watch Ken's stuff, they're gonna know the ether's real. They're gonna put enough pieces together. They're gonna realize he's right. So what are you gonna do? But let's see here. Because its implications are that the ether is real and the earth is stationary. Well, I don't know about the implication of the Earth being stationary, but you know, if they were, if that's what they were, if they thought that it indicated that, they might have been a little mistaken. Um, but I know Einstein didn't quite had some things to say about that and about in regards to relativity and all that shit. But yeah. Let's see here. I mean, what are your thoughts about it beyond that? I mean, do you think the Earth is stationary, or because I find that really hard to swallow. The Earth being stationary, but the ether being real, of course. I mean, you know, the mainstream science is they're kind of sneaking up on it, you know, like I mean, because they're making observations, and Ken said too that you know they're making correct observations, but their interpretations are off. So because they're thinking, and they're in their box, right? They're kind of invested in their ideas and their theories. And so everything new that they observe, they're trying to make it fit the paradigm that they're stuck in. So the problem is it doesn't really fit. You know, it's like the grand unification, right? They can't achieve it, but they're stuck in their box, and they're not stepping back and thinking, okay, well, maybe we can't create grand unification because the puzzle pieces that we constructed don't fit together, because at least one of them is wrong. they're not really considering that. They're heavily invested in the ideas that they have, and so they have to, you know, do all kinds of mathematical gymnastics, and then they go here and build a super collider and start bashing shit together that they think are particles. Because they're having a hard time thinking outside the human. You know, in our normal world, you know, we have to count shit, right? We take things in bite-sized pieces, and we have to quantify shit, you know. Ancient man had to crawl up to the top of a hill and look out, and then be able to go back and report, yeah, there's a herd of about 20 animals over there, and we can kill one of them. And or maybe they, you know, see a war party approach in their position, and a scout needs to say, look, you know, there's 50 men coming, we need to be ready for, you know, they needed to quantify shit, and these quantum physicists are trying to quantify shit, but the problem is that they have to keep looking for smaller and smaller bits of everything, because they can't seem to get to the bottom of it, right? If they would consider that the ether is real and start looking at things differently, then they would realize that the bottom is the ether, and all these particles they think they're perceiving is just their misinterpretation of their observations. Quantum physics is bunk, and the moon is an X-ray plasma map of the realm. Now, see, that's what Hyveless has to say if people are just listening. I agree with you that quantum physics is bunk, but I can't agree with you that the moon is an X-ray plasma map of the realm. You can look up and see craters on the thing. You know, men have set foot on it. I know that there's a whole group of people out there that don't believe that, and all that. But I mean, you can look at it night after night, and there it is. Like I could even see where we were at a quarter or whatever, where the sun's shining at it from this direction, and you can see the shadows of the side of the craters. And so, it looks like a solid object to me from here. And the funny thing is, hey, Icon, see, hey, welcome. Get to finally see who you're talking to over in Ken's chat. Welcome. I have Hiveless. I know some people that believe that, but they can't show me any actual proof of that idea, and there's plenty of proof to the contrary. Small Island Smallfoot is here. That's Paul right there, for those of you that don't know. Here on the right coast, huh? How do you know that, though? Hiveless says no one's been to the moon. How do you know that? I mean, people... Mark Dobbin says, would an X-ray throw a shadow during an eclipse? Oh, yeah. One of the many bits of supporting evidence for the moon actually being there. And good seeing you in the chat, Icon. Just recently started the channel. Myla says my mom said so. My mom said a lot of things when I was a kid that the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, among some of them. I'll stop there so I don't piss people off. Not that I'm too horribly worried about that, but hey. The thing with the people, because you're talking what flat earthers say, that they say that the moon's plasma and stuff like that. Even if you look up there and you can see the same craters night after night, but you're kind of missing out on some really cool stuff about the moon, and that's far cooler than it just being a rock or being just a ball of plasma. One of the things about it is the crater depth is way too shallow for how wide the craters are, indicating that it's an extremely tough material just below all the dust and the rocks on the surface, right? Kind of supporting that idea is high titanium levels in lunar surface samples. Then you have the Apollo mission experiment because they had put seismometers on the moon. and impacted the moon with like a lander or something that they didn't need anymore, and then used that to measure the results, because they kind of created an artificial earthquake, and apparently it rang like a bell for an extremely long time. And these are just some of the things that I think lead to the possibility that the moon is not a natural moon, that it's man-made. Some people think alien, but I think it's applying a little Occam's razor to the situation. Humans have been in this form for many thousands of years, and there's certainly indication that there has been a previous rise of at least one civilization of man that was capable of extraordinary feats that we can't do today. Building these megalithic structures with gigantic stones. Pulling off, the fact that they pulled that off seems to indicate, and you hang out at Ken's channel, he's built those little anti-gravity devices. They cancel out some of the gravity. I think that it's certainly possible that this ancient civilization had some greater mastery over gravity and had figured out how to counteract gravity to lift those stones. And to go to space, and that the civilization may have had technological abilities that we haven't figured out yet, and that I think that they are a good candidate for who built the moon. And of course now it looks like it's rocks and dirt, but I think those are just on the surface, and we need to look a little closer at it, I think. Icon says it's not cheese. No. If it were cheese, I already would have gone there. I love cheese. Icon says agreed. We can't be the first wave of people to figure out gravity. Yeah. Well, do you remember that Ancient Aliens TV show? You had Giorgio Tsoukalos with his crazy hair saying everything's aliens. The whole show. It's absolutely ridiculous conclusion that they're coming to, the aliens. Nothing they showed on the show was proof that aliens did shit. All of it was evidence that somebody did something, but they skipped right past, ancient humans did it, because they somebody out there wants us to believe, and some people have a hard time getting past the idea that they want to say that humans have been just slowly advancing over our entire species existence, but they don't want. It's hard to get people to accept that there could have been multiple rises in humans. So there's been plenty of time for a dozen or more rises in civilization beyond ours, and then they get knocked back into the Stone Age. And in the case that I'm referring to specifically, because I don't know that there's been more than one, but there's certainly been one, I think, and that they got smacked down by the Younger Dryas impact, which, if you go and watch, there's a number of people talking about some of the evidence of this previous civilization and about the Younger Dryas impact. But Randall Carlson is a good one to look at. He talks about all that shit, and it's pretty much an open. Well, mainstream didn't want to admit that there had been an impact about 13,000 years ago, but then somebody inconveniently found the crater in Greenland, so they can't deny it anymore. There's a freaking crater and other evidence that there was an astronomical impact about 13,000 years ago, which would explain why we have fields of thousands of dead woolly mammoths and all that stuff. Humans didn't wipe those out with hunting. We were surviving off of 160 different species of megafauna. We were great hunters, and that's what we did. We ate the biggest, fattiest red meat animals on the planet for many thousands of years. You know, of course, now we got a government that tries to convince us that red meat's going to kill us. No, red meat, fatty red meat, and organs and brain and marrow are the optimal food for humans. There's just no denying it. Anyone that looks close enough will see this. You know, vegans, I'm sorry, you're fucking wrong. There's a reason why every few years you hear about a vegan couple getting in trouble with the law, because they put their baby on a vegan diet and killed it. I don't mean to laugh at the death of it, but you know what I mean? There's a reason why most vegans, you look at them, they're these pale shadows of people. You know, they always like to bring up some bodybuilder. This bodybuilder, yeah, look, caveman couldn't go down to GNC and get a bunch of vegan protein powders, okay? They didn't have freaking soy. You know, oh gee, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, I don't think, tonight, but you know, sorry vegans, but every single point that you guys make in regards to veganism, I can tear it apart all night long. And it's not even gonna break a sweat on that. Icon says they had to make their money on the alien theme. Yeah, because there's a bunch of people out there. Well, they watch Sitchin, and there's a bunch of people out there that want to believe so badly that they're part alien, and there's zero evidence for that. It don't even make any goddamn sense. A human can't go screw a goat and make a goat man. I'm going to open up a cat on the worms of the goat man. You can't. It don't work. That's on our own planet, and it's a mammal. Not to mention all the other shit that's, you can't breed with something that isn't your same species. And these people want to believe that something from a completely different planet came here and was able to crossbreed with us. Then, of course, you throw that out and they start, well, technology, and they got some kind of mix master thing going. Why would they do that? It don't make any goddamn sense. But yeah, they're playing off that. There's a whole bunch of people out there that like that whole alien thing and the mystery. I'm like, okay, great, but no, aliens didn't do any of that shit. Icon says, I wonder if that impact in Greenland is what drove the American natives here in the first place. Well, that's a oh man, what time is it? I've been on for an hour. I'll probably stay on for another hour, or maybe longer. I don't know. I stayed on 4 hours sometimes. That's a heck of a rabbit hole I could go down. The Indians, like, they did some DNA testing of what was supposed to be purebred Indians, and it turned out that because they were expecting them to be entirely made up of Asian stock, right? Turned out they weren't. They were about a quarter Caucasian, you know. And this gets us into the mountains of evidence, tons of evidence that the Indians were not the first people in America. They weren't. They simply weren't. The first people in America were Caucasians, tens of thousands of years ago, and then the Indians came here and kind of took over. Because, you know, and I think it was somewhere in that time period, though. You're right. It had an effect on things. The new wave of Asians came in, and they were able to overtake. In fact, the Paiute tribe tells a story about this, and they refer to them as a redheaded tribe of people. And apparently, they didn't like them. They had some kind of conflict with them, and they attacked them. According to the Paiute story, they wiped them out, totally exterminated them, except the last few they chased into a cave. And then, according to their story, they lit a fire at the cave entrance to suffocate the people in the cave. And of course, people thought that was just a story until some guano miners, I think in the early 1900s, were mining guano out of this cave called, I think it's called Spirit Cave. And they found in there Caucasian skeletons that were like 9,000 years old. Long before there were any kind of Vikings, long before Christopher Columbus. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's tons of evidence that the Indians were not the first people in America. And I can't even, maybe one of these days I'll talk a little bit about all the trouble that talking about that online caused me, like destroyed my career. The feds showed up. Like when the feds show up, you know, you're talking about something they don't want you to talk about. Although they weren't really here for that. It was, anyway, that's a whole nother convoluted mess. I ain't going to go into it tonight, I don't think, but it was crazy. They don't want us to know the real history of humanity, though. That's definitely clear. Yeah, they're made of meat. Mark says, that's what I like about you, Lockbeard. You call it as you see it. You sure you're not an Aussie? No, I'm not an Aussie, but I used to want to, well, I still want to visit Australia. When I was a kid, I wanted to move there. I saw that Crocodile Dundee, and I was like, that place looks cool. You know, crocodiles and snakes and goannas and all that shit. You know, I've always loved reptiles. And so, you know, it just seemed like a cool place. Now I don't the way things are in the world now. I don't know if anybody's going to be visiting anywhere hardly anymore. I'd be almost afraid to leave the U.S. because then they might not let me back in. Apparently, some people are having those kind of problems. They can't even get back to their own country. What a damn mess. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Icon, that's the you know, it wasn't, I don't think it was necessarily that the Indians came to America because of the impact. I just think humans tend to move around, and we've done that for hundreds of thousands of years, you know, and it'd be a deep dive to go into all the, because, you know, the anthropologists have labeled all these different species of hominids, and a lot of people you're going to see in my chat are kind of Bigfoot community people, you know, Sasquatch talking. I do a live stream on Saturday night called Lockbeard Phenomena, where I talk about high strangeness and paranormal and cryptids, Bigfoot, that kind of stuff. But a lot of people are saying, well, they think it's a relic hominid. I'm like, no, I don't think it's a relic hominid. I think it's Homo sapiens. I think Sasquatch is actually human, but it's just a different race. And a lot of these hominids that anthropologists, scientists like to be able to say, hey, I did this. I discovered this thing. So anthropologists are no different. They want to be able to say, I named this species. Like Neanderthals, right? They've got it named Homo neanderthalensis. Problem. We know now that Neanderthals freely bred with primarily ancient Europeans. Europeans have, I think it's like 4% of their DNA is Neanderthals, which means Neanderthals were the same species as us, and anthropology needs to catch up to the facts and change the name. Neanderthals are Homo sapiens subspecies Neanderthalensis. That would be a more appropriate name for them. But I think people are uncomfortable. Anyway, anthropology is the subject of great interest to me, and I think that they've named a lot of different hominid species of the past as if they were separate species, but I think that they were actually the same species, and that humans were, because after we left Africa, we were moving around a lot. The type of people that we became this explorer race, right? Is these explorer race of apes, and we were moving around so much that we were never genetically isolated enough after that to become a separate species. So whereas we would have enough differentiation and we'd look at them and say, but at their bones and say, oh, it's a different species. We haven't actually looked at the DNA. If we had the DNA from all these things, it's my hypothesis that they will find that they are all the same species. They're just different races. And the reason why all those don't exist anymore is because they got bred out. The Neanderthals got bred out because a more virulent strain of human came in and started breeding with them and kind of took over and nearly obliterated most, 96% of their DNA. But there was enough Neanderthals that it kind of stayed put. A certain amount of that DNA stayed put. You can completely breed it out. Like you can breed with that subspecies. And if you can completely breed it out, but it didn't happen in the case of Neanderthals. I think because there was just enough of them. And so it kind of stabilized at about 4%. Icon says Quigley Down Under is what gave me the want to move to Australia. I watched it when I was a kid. My mom liked that movie, and so she watched it, but I don't really recall it very well. Crocodile Dundee got my attention with all the reptiles and come on, Mick Dundee was funny. I don't think I do. What's that? Hivela says, do you know about self-inquiry / Advaita Vedanta? No, I don't know. I can't say that I do. Is there? I mean, can you tell me anything about it? It's makes me think. Um, I don't know, Hinduism or something. The word kind of reminds me of something from Hinduism. Um, but no, I don't think I'm familiar with what you're talking about. We'll see if I can pull it up. Advaita Vedanta. It is a school a school of Hindu philosophy and spiritual experience. The idea that Brahma alone, pure consciousness or the witness consciousness, is ultimately real. The phenomenal transient world is an illusory appearance of Brahma, and the true self, Atman, is identical with the Brahman. In this view, just as a reflection of singular, It is, and spiritual, but it refers to the idea of Brahma alone, pure consciousness. Yeah, I don't really know anything about. I don't know anything about that. But I mean, as you know, I mean, I hang out in Ken's chats sometimes, and I'm very familiar with the ideas of consciousness spoken of with him, and I talk about it some. It's hard to explain, with mainstream science, like one of the things that they talk about instantaneous action at a distance. And I'm like, see, they're starting to understand. They're starting to see. But their interpretations are going to be off for a while. Eventually they may catch up. I mean, but I think there's some active attempt to hide the truth that instantaneous action at a distance shows that there is information transfer going on there, and it's every point in the universe basically is connected with instantaneous information transfer, thus constituting a cosmic neural network. The entire universe thus being conscious. Now, it's probably less aware of us than we are of a germ living inside our rectums. I mean, we kind of know it's there, but we'll never see it. We'll never feel it. But, yeah. Icon says, there's one thing that has me wondering about the Africa origins theory. How did we keep from inbreeding, or is that why humanity is fucked up? What do you mean? Do you mean actual inbreeding, or do you mean... I'm not sure what you mean. Or do you mean interbreeding back with Africa? Because I do think we interbred back with Africa on occasion. That Africans remained less changed because they didn't experience new environments. Like other humans were spread out across the world, getting exposed to all kinds of new evolutionary pressures and causing change. And try not to make it too controversial when talking about, but what I'm saying is basically that it looks like the transfer of the new traits were getting leaked back into Africa on occasion by people wandering back into Africa with new traits, which kind of kept them up with the rest of the species, but they'd still retain some unique characteristics. One of the things, I gotta be careful how I say it, because one of these days on a random live, or maybe if I start doing stock and barrel, I want to start doing a show called Lockbeard Stock and Barrel, which will basically be kind of the same as a random live, except it'll be a regularly scheduled live stream. And I'd kind of like to be able to start having guests, but I can't do it on my internet right now. But anyway, it's a discussion that will come up with a talk about dreadlocks. And the whole issue, where some people think it's, cultural appropriation, stuff like that, and how it's clearly not. And not only is it not, I think that the trait of long hair developed outside of Africa and got introduced into Africa by other races when some of those people wandered in, which is going to piss off the Afrocentrists, because they think dreadlocks belongs to them, and they, if you're too pale and you got dreadlocks, you're some kind of freaking prick. Well, tell that to the people of many other cultures. I mean, I got a picture. Well, you can see it's on Wikipedia, a picture of a Native American with dreadlocks, straightest hair on the planet, pretty much. You don't get any straighter. Dude had dreadlocks. And I actually think we evolved to have dreadlocks. That's I'm gonna have to really work on putting my case together for that. But because people are like, oh, we're all supposed to have dreadlocks. I'm telling you. Yeah. So Hiveless says Eastern spirituality. Yeah. Uncle Bone says Crazy Core, or whatever her name was, fun in that movie. Was that in Quigley Down Under? Hiveless says yes, sir. Yeah. Hiveless says spooky action at distance equals fractal holographic universe. Kinda, yeah. I mean, it's the fractal nature of reality is pretty damn apparent. And boy, once we really get a handle on this shit, who knows what we'll be able to do. Icon says Dreddy's being cultural appropriation pertaining to the Africans is complete and utter BS. Yeah. Well, as you can see, I go by Lockbeard here, right? For me, it's not a dreadlock. But for most people look at it because they know them as dreadlocks, they're going to call this a dreadlock. I know it's dark, but that's not braided. That's what most people call a dreadlock these days in American, at least, culture. I just call it a lock. But yeah, that's why I go by Lockbeard. And the reason why I don't call it a dreadlock is because I am not a member of the Rastafarian religion from which that term derives. So, which, and I spell it lock with a K. Lock. Some people call them locks with no K, Locks. And then Sanskrit jata, Jata. I don't know what the A. It has like a little tick mark over the top of the last A, but that's what they call it. But many names for different peoples all over the world. There's plenty of ancient stories indicating people had dreadlocks in many cultures. There's some biblical apparent like Samson. It said in there he had 7 locks. Well, if they were just saying he had locks of hair, you wouldn't say a specific number, right? Unless there was some kind of, he had dreadlocks. Dude had locked hair, and it's right there in black and white. Well, assuming you believe the story, because it's a pretty fantastic story, but it's a biblical reference, so it's funny to me how religious people take exception to just having long hair and beards. Some of them, they're like, you need to be clean shaven, and I'm like, well, why do you believe you need to be? It don't make any sense. If God created you in His image, why do you want to be? Why do you want to alter yourself to not be in His image? Right? He had a beard. He created you to have a beard that grows. There's there's even a certain religious rite. I can't remember what it's called, where like you don't cut your hair and stuff, and you let your hair naturally form dreadlocks. Which that's one of the lines of evidence, combing hair. Somebody had to invent a comb at some point and to create the concept of, that's not natural, right? But if you just go about your life and don't comb your hair, now you can, you're going to, ancient man, was getting in water pretty regularly and getting rained on. So, they didn't have shampoo, they just lived their life. And if you don't comb your hair, it will form into locks naturally. Now, they're not going to be even. They're not going to be, pretty by our standards, but it forms in a lock. And it doesn't matter if you have straight hair or kinky hair or whatever. All hair will eventually form into locks if you just leave it alone. Klaus Schwab. I don't know that. Well, I don't know if I know how to do that. I know, like, I can share a video if I have it on my computer on here. Are you talking about the founder of the World Economic Forum? Is that who you talking about? Klaus Schwab. Why did you make a parody of him? Or are you talking about someone else? Mark Dodman says, can only wish mine would turn into lux. Mine used to be all waves. Now it's all beach. Yeah, for some people it goes away, but there's some women that love bald men. I used to Years ago. I used to just flat out shave my head, and it's funny how there's some girls that are into that. Why? Because he's Dr. Evil. Um, well, Hiveless, if you, I don't know if I could make it happen tonight, but if you could email me the video, you want me to, put it on the stream? Maybe next time I do a random live, um, you know, or maybe not the next time, but sometime in the future, I could put it on there. If you want, I'd be happy to have, if you want to invite some people to come and, watch it on the live stream, and, we can make a whole thing out of it. But email it to me, and I'll take a look at it and see if it's something that fits. Sounds like it might be funny. Let me see here. I'll put my email in chat, and hold on just a second. Make sure I got it in there correctly. Sometimes when I don't eat right, I can't see very well. It seems like that's what happens. But yeah. Anyway, my email is lockbeard@protonmail.com. So let me get it in chat here. Yeah, email it to me. I'll take a look at it. You're welcome, man. Icon says, I keep my hair short because I'm cheap ass and don't like buying lots of shampoo. Yeah. Well, and shampoo messes with your scalp, man. People should ease up on that shit. And you can't just go cold turkey though, because see, what's happening is you're stripping all the natural oils out of your scalp and your hair, so your scalp's kind of trying to keep up. If you stop shampooing it like cold turkey, you'll get your hair will be real greasy, because your hair's still trying to pump out all the oils to keep up with your chemical attack. So you skip a day here and there, and then get where you regularly skip maybe a few days a week, and then maybe every other day or something like that. Whatever it takes to kind of ease off of it, and eventually just get to where you just wash your hair with water. You don't need to attack your scalp with those chemical concoctions that they call shampoo. And there's a lot of people that are doing that and seeing some benefit to it. I certainly have. I try not to mess with shampoo with my hair or my beard. That's the reason why beard oil has gotten to be such a thing, is guys are figured out that their beards they're using soaps in their beards, and it's not good for it. You're supposed to have natural oils in it, but your body can't keep them in there because you keep stripping them out with those shampoos, and it's just best to just let it go. You save money. You don't need to buy shampoo. It's not good for your scalp. So we're talking about the same guy, right? Klaus Martin Schwab, German engineer and economist, co-founded the Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship, eh? What exactly does that mean? Yeah, send me that video and I'll take a look at it. Maybe we'll put it on. If you drop by, more often in the live streams here, maybe we chat about it more, and kind of plan to show it, at a particular time when you're here, and maybe we'll talk about the subject. Icon says, yep, once you go for a while with that shampoo, your scalp will thank you. Kind of like body wash, it takes away your natural sun blocker. Most likely why there's so much skin cancer. Yeah, isn't it funny? This is, for our entire evolutionary history, millions of years, and we've been walking around in sunlight this entire time, and suddenly the sun is trying to kill us. That's what they want us to believe. I guess sunblock companies gotta have some kind of angle, right? I don't wear sunblock typically. I try to just slowly build up a tan. You got to be careful, because if I go out on the lake one day in the spring and I haven't built up a tan, I will be blistered up and in misery. So I got to make sure that I've get a tan started. Your body adapts to that, But I don't believe for a second that after millions of years, the sun is suddenly out to kill us all. I mean, seriously, it's got to be. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's got to be other confounding. There's got to be other things going on, like you're saying there. There's something else going on. And I'm sure, we're getting exposed to other things. Well, some people have suggested that the suntan lotion itself is carcinogenic and part of the cause for skin cancers. But also I think part of our problem is our diet. And that's gone wrong in the last 13,000 years too. Because like I said, the Younger Dryas impact occurred. Before that, because when did the agricultural revolution happen? A little while after that, right? Well, 160 species of megafauna got wiped out by the Younger Dryas impact. Humans survived on tons and tons of fatty meat, and then suddenly it was all gone, and we had to figure out something. So, somebody decided to start gardening. And here we are thousands of years later, and everybody thinks that we're supposed to eat vegetables. And I'm here to tell you, no, we're not. If you want to be in optimal health, one of the things you need to do is stop eating vegetables. Stop it. It's not the best thing for us to eat. They're all mildly poisonous to us. That being said, do I always not eat vegetables? No. I mean, there's an asparagus bed inside of my van here that occasionally I get a couple of spears, because I grill stuff over here in the tree line, start a fire and cook meat over there for the most part, and sometimes I throw a few spears of asparagus. Usually that's all that comes out of that asparagus bed. It's just 2 or 3 spears, so it's not like I'm eating a lot. But I used to eat, I'd eat 4 servings of broccoli with my lunch a lot of times. And now that what I know about broccoli, and that I don't have to eat broccoli, and it's probably, causing me I think it did. It was causing me certain issues digestively, and, all that fiber and all that crap that you're not supposed to have. The sulforaphane in it. That's that chemical. See, they come up. You've heard that they say broccoli is, anti-cancer, right? Well, they're talking about the sulforaphane, which is a defensive chemical that broccoli and other brassicas, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, all that stuff create to make things not want to eat them. Well, the problem is it's basically like chemo, right? Yeah, doctor will give you chemo and it'll kill the cancer some of the time. The rest of the time, it kills you before it kills the cancer. They're hoping the cancer dies first, and they poison the shit out of you. And that's their idea of how to fix cancer. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can give you 2 ways right now to probably cure almost every cancer, but I'm not a doctor. But that's all. So for a thing, it kills cancer cells, but it also kills normal cells, and sometimes turns normal cells cancerous. Broccoli is it's not an amazing anti-cancer. It's bullshit. It's total bullshit. And the fiber thing, they told us you need fiber. No, you absolutely do not need fiber. I went I think it was 6 months straight with 0 fiber. I was eating a pure meat diet. I didn't no fiber. Didn't need it. I mean, in fact, things in that regard were going better without fiber. And there was a study, I've mentioned it on this live stream, I think, before, where they had people with chronic constipation, and they did a trial where they put some of them on a high fiber diet, some of them on a moderate or a low fiber, I think. It was one of those. And then the other group was on a 0 fiber diet. The people on the highest fiber had the most constipation symptoms at the end of the trial. The people on 0 fiber had a 100% cure rate of chronic constipation. That's exactly the opposite of what we've always been told about fiber. Fiber's, such bullshit. We've been lied to about everything, man. I mean, and it sounds like when I say some of this shit, you're like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This isn't what I know to be true. Because, we've been told all this shit all these years. They've lied to us about just about everything. It's like everything. It's crazy. Icon says, just ordered a side of Angus for this fall. No shortage here. Good deal, man. Eat meat. One of the things I noticed when I was first trying out keto, and then I went to pure carnivore, and I was like weighing out and measuring everything and carefully, because I'm in the gym, I'm lifting weights, I'm trying to track everything, and I was had like this pretty meticulous records of everything I was eating and even time of day and all this stuff. And it turns out, when I went to zero carbs, and that I need way less food. Like my hunger levels went way down. Like I had no frame of reference really before experiencing this, but now I do. The hunger I used to experience eating a normal diet with carbs in it is what I would now call ravenous hunger. I don't experience that anymore. Never. Like, and it's because carbs actually make you hungry. They, like, when you eat carbs, they make you want to eat more. There's a reason for that in an evolutionary sense, but short version is people did eat fruit, but fruit's only available for a short time, and then it's gone. The tree, all the fruit ripens at one time a year, and what you're supposed to do is eat it all. So the way your system works, hypothetically, the deal is that you're supposed to eat it all. When you find fruit, you're supposed to eat it all, and then you're also in a fat storage mode when you eat the carbs. So this is when you put on your fat. You don't put on fat when you eat just meat. You just don't. It's almost unheard of. People that go onto a pure meat diet do not gain fat. They eat tons of fat, like on purpose with their meat, because humans are specialized for eating fatty meat and fatty organs. Brain is extremely important. It's brain. Animal brain is a superfood, not quinoa. Like, remember, they started some years back saying quinoa is a super grain. It has all the essential amino acids and all that shit. Slight problem. If you eat some quinoa, it's gross, but look in the toilet and you will see that you spawned like a salmon. That shit didn't digest. How are you getting the amino acids out of quinoa if it doesn't digest? See, they lied to us about everything. And I used to love quinoa. I was eating the shit out of that, but it don't digest. And it also has toxins in it and stuff like that. You shouldn't eat it. You're not going to drop dead, but you just shouldn't eat it. It's not good for you. Hivela says coffee enemas. Yeah. At what point in our evolutionary history was Paleolithic man squirting coffee in their ass? At what point did they have coffee at all? They probably didn't. It was something that people got smart enough to be dangerous to themselves. That's what happened. It was like, hey, let's try that. Let's go get these beans and we'll roast them, and then we'll run some hot water through them, and then we'll drink that shit. And Uncle Bones don't got 4 stomachs. Exactly. Yeah. And the vegans, they like to compare us to like the great apes. They're like, look, they eat mostly plants. Well, if you look at a gorilla, they have a huge hind gut, for all that fiber digestion shit. Gorillas don't eat meat. I think they eat some bugs, but chimpanzees eat like very low percentage of meat, but they do eat some meat. And that's another point the vegans try to make. They try to say, well, we ain't got those big canines. Well, chimpanzees have really big canines, and they eat a little bit of meat, but they eat mostly plants. And then gorillas have even bigger canines, and they eat no meat at all. So when the whole idea that canines indicate what a primate is supposed to eat, it has no basis. It has no basis. They're looking at other types of animals, but we are different. They don't seem to get it that humans were tool using, because even chimpanzees are tool users. They didn't go as far as we have, but they use tools. Humans took that shit to another level and then began to become great hunters, not by being able to run down an animal and rip its throat out with our teeth. We made all those spears. Our teeth and claws were our spears and our knives. We specialized in making these stone tools that made us, and we did it for many thousands of years. And so it became there's a reason why we don't have those canines. We did. That's not how we developed as a hunter. We evolved into a hunter, a tool using hunter. And so that whole idea where some of them bring up the teeth is just it's not a point at all. They think it's a point, but it's not a point at all. It's just, well, a lot of people worry about, yeah, but see, I don't know where you're at, but in some areas in North America, we have that chronic wasting disease in the deer, and some people worry that it jumps species, but I don't know. If it jumped species, we would see a lot of cases, and like a lot of people, like here, like there was someone here in Oklahoma that ate a deer from somewhere. And they got the human equivalent, and they're like, well, you don't know that. I mean, there's always a chance, It's kind of like with I mean, it's like with anything though. You eat it, and you could get something bad out of it. But I mean, we have food recalls on freaking spinach, and shit like that. But it's kind of like with cannibalism. People, say, "Oh, humans aren't supposed to eat other humans because they bring up the disease." They usually don't remember the name, but Kuru. That's if you eat an infected person, right? It's not all over the world. Humans have a long history of eating each other, and as uncomfortable as it is for us to accept in our culture, which is extremely anti-cannibalistic, the fact is we are definitely evolved to be partially cannibalistic. There's plenty of archaeological sites that show the evidence of this. Too bad. So yeah, and it doesn't matter what you're eating, there's going to be some kind of microbe that's going to try and take advantage of that situation, right? So the prion disease, yeah, you want to, nowadays that we can detect those things, and we can steer around them, and we should steer around them, but But yeah. But here in the United States, I wouldn't think twice about eating a deer brain or a cow brain. It's just not. It's not an issue, at least not in my area for the deer. If I knew I was in a chronic wasting disease area where they've detected it, because they haven't detected it in this area. I actually took part in a chronic wasting disease detection program for a little bit at some point. We didn't get a lot of samples because the deer hunters don't want to give up their samples, because we'd be down there and they're bringing their deer into the processor, and we would just say, we tried to offer them prizes and shit like that, and they just didn't want to deal with it at all. Some of them because they just don't feel like it, and then others because they're afraid that if we do detect chronic wasting disease in their area, it's going to affect their hunting. That there might the wildlife department might decide to thin out the numbers or something to slow the spread or to try and stop the spread, so on and so forth. And it's a whole freaking thing. You're in the UK? Yeah. Get a few people from the UK up in here. Zombie deer, yeah. Yeah, it messes them up. They're dead deer. Yeah, I figured, it's easy for that to happen. Those misspellings like that, hiveless, the freaking autocorrect or talk to text and all that stuff, always messing stuff up like that. Hiveless says he ate his sister. Well, if you were from Arkansas, I would take that to mean something totally different. Sorry to my Arkansas people. People around these parts tend to joke about Arkansas being a state where a lot of inbreeding takes place. To be fair, it's probably no more than Oklahoma. Yeah. Well, I hope you didn't eat your sister. Your parents are probably mad. Remember, we're in a society where that's not cool. Can you imagine being in a world where you did that on occasion? I mean, to just people to be in the mindset like, what are we having for dinner? Oh, we're eating some freaking guy from a neighboring tribe. We caught him in our territory trying to hunt our deer, so we hunted him. like if you're in a disaster scenario, like, and you're starving, and you know how like the Donner Party thing and all that stuff, and way our society, see, this goes back to the universal morality thing too. In our society, the way we've been taught about how bad cannibalism is, if we were forced into a circumstance like the Donner Party, where we had to eat a person, it would mess with our heads. Like, it'd freak us out. But there were and are legitimate, there's societies where, like, it's no big deal at all. It's like, whatever. Yeah. Icon says, northern Wisconsin, upper Michigans were known for their inbreeding. That knowledge seems to have disappeared in the last 40 years. Well, that's a little ways away from me. I don't know much about you know, what's going on in those areas. That's another one of those things, though, where people they think it seems like people think that inbreeding itself is what causes the issue. It isn't the inbreeding that causes an issue. If you're inbreeding in a family that has detrimental recessive traits, that's when it becomes the issue, because if you're dealing with some kind of defective recessive gene, it's going to pop up, because if you and your sister hook up and your family has a recessive gene floating around in it, and you both have it in you because you came out of the same parents where the source of that gene is, then about a quarter of your kids are going to come up with 2 copies of that recessive gene, that defective gene, and then have some kind of consequence of that gene. So it isn't the inbreeding that caused it. It is the inbreeding that revealed the presence of the gene. This is why ancient people could have utilized that, because they figured out, they knew how to, selectively breed things. And if you take, you say you got some livestock, and so you take a brother and sister, maybe you take several couples out of the same parentage, right? And you just put together brothers and sisters to see, what kind of genetics you're dealing with. You would see if they have recessive genes. If they all breed perfectly healthy, normal offspring, then you got a good line. But I don't know how. I was watching a live stream here the other day where someone brought up the ostrich foot people. There's a tribe where they have a defective gene. It's that causes lobster claw syndrome, where it welds together the fingers kind of like that, so you don't, your hands are all fucked up, and your feet are the same thing with your feet. And so I guess somebody thought it looked like ostrich feet, and so they call them the ostrich foot tribe. Not everyone in the tribe exhibits the characteristic, but you can probably be certain that those individuals carry the recessive gene and could have children with it, even if they paired off with someone who also did not exhibit the characteristics of lobster claw syndrome. If they had enough knowledge of selective breeding and had the will to carefully control the breeding in their tribe, they could eventually breed it out. But I don't guess they do, and they seem to be just going about their life as a tribe that is mostly made up of people with lobster claw syndrome. Yeah. I'm not telling everybody to go out and start inbreeding, but yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm an expert. It's one of those things where, the way people act about it is not, it's an emotional response, and it's based on kind of old wives' tales and a misunderstanding of how the genetics works and all that. And of course, our society has this another aversion kind of taught to us, an extreme aversion to inbreeding compared to some other societies. In many historical societies, it wasn't a big deal at all. In fact, it was normal, and for some, and there was a point where there was these kinship groups, like extended families, and they would, kind of pair up, like, if you had if you were too distantly related from this relative over here, that would be who you need to pair up with to kind of bring it back in and keep the family tied in, tight, because the family behaved and acted as one under the, it gave them power in their local like community and stuff, because they had a bunch of individuals and they kind of worked together and acted as one, as an extended family, as a kinship group. And this was the Catholic Church. This was a threat to them, right? For them to control people, they need to have them get them break up these big extended families that are too powerful. And our government continues kind of the same thing today. They want to destroy the traditional family. They want people to be isolated. If you're isolated, you're easier to control. If you got a large, close-knit family, you're less easy to control. Got to go. Good night, all, says Bones. Good night, Bones. Probably going to wrap it up myself here shortly. It's getting late. Iva says later, Uncle Bones. Yeah. Did you get the email down, Ivis? If you can email it to me, and if I can get it downloaded, then I'll maybe in a future live stream I can try to play it on here. We'll see what y'all guys have to say about old Klaus Schwab. So what else is going on out there? Cool. Good deal, Hiveless. Yeah, I put it in chat earlier. I don't think... I mean, that email, it's on my About page. I don't know if a lot of people are aware that a lot of channels have their email on their About page. And then I also got it at the top of the Paranormal TV guide that I made to share with people over on, just with anybody, but over on the Lockbeard Phenomena. I made that to kind of keep track. I was having trouble because if I'm not on a device, I'm not going to see an alert, and if I'm working all day or whatever, and I might miss a show, and I got tired of it, so I made a TV guide. Oh no, I didn't see a link. YouTube don't let people put links in chat, so if you put it in chat, it looks like it to you, like you'll see it there, but nobody else does. I didn't see a link. But yeah, just email it to me, and because YouTube don't let you put links in chat unless you're like a mod, but I don't do mods. Icon says, yep, I have to get up early, so I'm off to bed. This is a great stream, and I will be back for more. Also, subscribe. Regards, and have a good night. You too, Icon. Thanks for dropping by. Hopefully it'll get better in the future. Like, I've just started, and hopefully I can get some better production quality and put more time into it. Right? Yeah, I just can't put time into it right now. People don't understand doing these channels is work. Like, there's shit you gotta do, like it to get certain things done. And of course there's time and I don't know, having to figure everything out. Like, I had to pay for freaking StreamYard, and I mean, you can do the free version, but it's you got to pay to be able to do certain things with it and make it look better. And so I hope to see you in the future. And we'll ride this stream all the way up to 1 million subscribers. Hiveless, yeah, email it. I'm gonna go over here and look, see. Hell, there's 6 people here. I don't know who all's here. But yeah, so the title was Shiny. If y'all didn't watch Firefly, you may not know what the hell that is. It just kind of means in the show they would say shiny, like cool, or that's good, or it kind of means that. So like, how you doing, shiny? Is how you might use it. Rumble / Weird Messiah channel, a message from Klaus Schwab. Is that what I mean? Do you mean that's the title of it? It's on Rumble, on the Weird Messiah channel. Okay, so it's I'd be sharing a something from Rumble then. I could do that. Let's maybe do that another time. Try to get some more people in here, and I dropped that message in Ken's chat because figured maybe some people might want to come over, and because the impromptu chats, sometimes it takes a little bit to get anybody in, because nobody knows when it's going to happen. It just kind of happens. But and Ken deletes his chats, or he deletes his live streams. I don't know why he does that. He should he should leave them. So much good information gets covered around all the stupid questions he gets asked. Seems like every live stream there's someone trying to ask him about drugs or something. I mean, how many times does he have to tell people he doesn't use drugs? He's not going to use drugs. I get why they're bringing up like something like psychedelics, and probably in the future on here we'll talk about that a little bit. I live in a place where it's illegal, so I don't want to go to jail for something stupid, so I've never even tried them. But I've learned a lot about them, and my view of them isn't what I was taught when I was young anymore. So, but Ken has made it clear he's not going to use them. He will achieve those things through other means. So But yeah, people always show up asking about that, or like tonight asking him about his ex-wife. And man, I don't want to hear him tell the story about his wife's torturous death from cancer again. I just don't. Or his ex-girlfriend. I don't want to hear about her either. I was sick of hearing. That was 2 years ago. Bitch is gone. You know, people come in there. Like, how many times does he have to show that and tell people he's not a flat earther? Why do flat earthers keep bringing it up in his chat? He's not a flat earther. He's not going to accept it. He can actively disprove it with some experiments, for fuck's sake. But yeah. Ken doesn't want evidence of his racist impressions of his Chinese ex-missus. Well, I don't think he's racist. I mean, shit, he dated her. You know, can't be too horribly racist if he dated her. Now, some of the things he says might be taken wrong, but he's not marching around with a swastika or anything. Magic mushrooms are great, and I'm not a ball earther. Yeah, there's a lot of people in there that are flat earthers. I'm glad they're there and hope they're listening. But like, they'll come in there and just say like assert that the earth is flat. And most of the people there aren't going to, they're not going to, like, they're not going to believe you. They're just not. They're not flat earthers. Ken's science doesn't support flat earth at all. And so I don't know why, people keep trying to twist it to mean that. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. But I'm glad they're there so that maybe they can learn from Ken and from others there, maybe that there's no evidence the earth is flat. Now, see, that would be one of those things. Where's the proof of that? Because it's there. I mean, we got astronauts going up all the time. And Earth is a pancake. Yeah, that's what they say. But nobody's found that edge yet. Keep telling them, so, well, go find the edge. Oh, they won't let us find the edge. Well, isn't that convenient? Huh. No, it's not. There's this whole gravity thing. I know it sounds kind of legit to flat earthers, but it's not impossible. There was a flat earther here a few weeks back. He was saying, he's like, the Nile, what did he say? The Nile can't flow north because water can't flow uphill. Well, evidently he's looking at a globe, and globes are typically, displayed with the North Pole, at the top. And he's thinking up in relation to himself, looking at that globe, right? You could flip that globe completely upside down and then and then rewrite all the names of all the nations and the rivers and the oceans upside down from what you usually look at it, and have the South Pole at the top, and that's an equally accurate representation of the Earth. It's just that we conventionally look at everything with north up in relation to ourselves as we're looking at it. So, but the Nile isn't flowing uphill. Downhill is down on the Earth is a different vector depending on what point on the Earth you're standing on, because the center of gravity is at the center of it. So I don't know what else to. Well, how do you know we've never flown over Antarctica? And there's no reason why would Polaris move? If the axis of the Earth is aimed at Polaris, then it's not going to move. That's exactly why it never moves, because that is where the Earth's axis is aimed at this time. Now it gradually changes. That gradually changes over time because everything in the universe is moving. But if you go down to Antarctica, they have pictures of the stars going in a little circle. Now they're at the very center. There's I don't think there's a star that is visible to the naked eye at the center, but it spins around. The stars go around in a circle just like they do at the North Pole, because we're on a globe. I don't know why. It's kind of amazing that people have latched on to this, because there's everything they bring up, they're like there's assertions of things that there's no proof of from the flat Earth side, and there's plenty of things that prove the Earth is a globe. Things you can observe just by going outside every day. Someone was trying to tell me, some crazy shit about the sun. I'm like, well, every day I could see it go down behind the horizon and come back up from behind the horizon. Its size does not change significantly from when it's over by the horizon to when it's straight above head. If it's really close to me, then the size, I should see a great change in the size from my perspective, because it's thousands of miles closer to me when it's above my head, according to the flat Earth model, than when it's on the horizon. But it doesn't. There's no change in size. Why? Because it's a very, very long way away. So that distance difference is very, very, very tiny, and it has to be, because the sun is an extremely long distance away. But they were trying to say, well, that what you see with your eyes isn't what's really going on. Well, what am I supposed to do with that? I can observe these things with my eyes, and then they're saying no. I've seen the videos online, showing the sun shrinking into the distance. Man, that's some CGI. Go outside and actually look at it. There's got to be somebody behind this whole thing, like trying to sabotage people with something that can be demonstrated not to be true. We left that whole idea behind centuries ago, and now it's come back up for some reason, and I can't get a flat earther to give me one piece of actual proof. They just tell me this is how it really is. Well, prove it. Show evidence. Show a scientific experiment that can be conducted that is repeatable, but no one can. And they say these things about Antarctica. Well, we got pictures from Antarctica. There's people who have been to Antarctica, but they'd say, well, they're all lying. All of them are lying. Everyone at NASA's lying. All the astronomers are lying. Everybody's lying. Millions of people are lying, according to flat earthers. But I'm supposed to believe, a few thousand flat earthers, or however many of y'all there are now. With no evidence whatsoever. There's been not one shred of evidence I've seen from a flat earther. Just things that they think are evidence. Well, this is it. It's really a flat butt, but you're making a statement. Where's the evidence? I mean, now Ken will tell you is like, the speed of light isn't constant. So, of course, the concept of a light year isn't exactly, but how fast light travels in space is how fast it travels, right? It's got a speed, and it takes a certain amount of time to get there. That's all that is. So why would you even say light years is a fake concept? It doesn't even have anything to do with the Earth being flat. So I don't know why you would say that. Prove that. I don't know what to tell you. Go back, stop looking at the websites and the channels that are trying to convince you of flat Earth, and actually give the other side a fair hearing. Go look at the real science on it. Because, you've heard me. I'm tearing quantum physics apart. But the Earth is a sphere, man. I'm sorry. Just like I think Mark brought up earlier, what's casting that shadow on the moon? How's a ball of plasma getting a shadow cast upon it? I don't know what to tell you, man. Come back to the light. There's people out there selling this flat Earth concept, and they're good salesmen because they're convincing some people. But show me an experiment that I can perform that disproves what I'm observing every day with my own two eyes. Just gravity itself, observing the properties of gravity automatically leads to the formation, the idea that things will form into a ball. Because if mass falls towards mass, things are going to form into a ball, not into a flat anything. NASA is not the light. Well, you can say that, and then you say there's no legit pics of the Earth. I don't know what to tell you, man. If you won't believe pictures, what evidence do you got? You're saying the Earth is flat, but you got no evidence. You're saying NASA's not the light. I'm not, well, I guess legit. What evidence of that you got? You say there's no legit pics of Earth. Well, so there's no pics. So pics in general just can't be trusted, right? Um, we've never flown over Antarctica. Well, why would you want to fly over Antarctica? There's hardly anywhere you would get to by flying over Antarctica that, you know, because there's very little landmass there. It's very unlikely to fly there. It's probably not the best thing to fly through such cold temperatures if you can help it. There's any number of reasons why we might not fly, but how do you know we never flew over Antarctica? I'm sure we have. Mr. Lee's here. Hey, Mr. Lee. I think we've gotten into some flat Earth action here. Well, you know, it's unplanned, unscripted, random, live. Amateur balloon footage. Well, look, a balloon is probably not going to get high enough to look. If you got to think when you're on a globe, when you look towards the horizon, you're not going to see it go. You're not going to see the horizon go down. If it starts curving, it's going to come around and come under your feet or something. The horizon is going to be flat on a globe. It's going to be flat because you're standing in the center of a circle. Think of the horizon as this big circle around you on the globe. That's how far you can see in any direction. You're standing in the center of the circle. You're not high enough above it to see that it's a circle. And so when people say, look, the horizon's flat. Well, of course it's flat. You're standing on the globe in the center of a circle. The only way that you're not going to see the horizon curve unless you understand that the horizon's a circle around you. It curves all the way around you. Yeah. Amateur balloon footage, right. They're not getting anything off of that. Mr. Lee says, give less. B, I take you to believe in flat Earth. Yeah, Hiveless. Yeah, he's trying to convince me of flat Earth open here. It ain't. Hiveless. It ain't gonna work. I know. I know too much to be convinced by flat Earth. But don't be discouraged. Bigfoot Anon comes up in here sometimes, and he's a flat earther. Yes, if you're standing on a globe and you look at the horizon, it's going to look flat. You're in the center of a circle, looking at it edgewise. Look, geometry, man. Because you think about it, if the horizon is equal distance from you in all directions, right? If it starts to curve down, then it's coming closer to you as it curves to your perspective. So now the horizon can't be equal distance from you. It has to look flat from your perspective standing on the globe. The horizon, unless of course there's mountains and hills and shit like that, but the horizon's going to be roughly equal distance from you in all directions, and you're standing in the center of that large circle curving all the way around you. You're looking at it edgewise, so it looks flat from your perspective. Never, yeah, he's never been in a spaceship. He don't believe space is real, man. Mr. Lee, I have been in a spaceship, but it is fake. Yeah, Mr. Lee, he don't believe the moon is real. He was talking some blasphemy about light speed a while ago. I'm just saying, dude, go to the edge. Go to the edge and take some legit pictures. All the flat earthers like they won't let us go to the edge. Man, look, I bet I could go arrange a trip to Antarctica anytime I want, but it costs money I ain't got. Hiveless, if you'll pay for a trip to Antarctica for us, we'll go down there and we'll see it together. How's that sound? Yep. This is a quick search here. What we got here? What have we got here? Antarctica. Of course, this thing ain't going to come up right. The ultimate adventure. Yep. Well, it looks like you can go to Antarctica. Oh, I hate these pop-ups and crap. Chances are you're already inspired by the prospect of penguins. Yeah, it looks like you could plan a trip to Antarctica, man. Let's go. I totally want to go to Antarctica. We'll settle this. We'll settle this at the South Pole. Yeah, it wasn't too much, Mr. Lee. And the good news is you can watch it on high speed if you do a rewatch, but we didn't accomplish anything great tonight. Mr. Lee says, "Hivis B, are you a millionaire?" I hope he is. We will take a flat Earth expedition to the South Pole. It'll either be there or it won't, or we'll find an ice wall and fall off, or we'll find continents beyond. It depends on what brand of flat Earth, because different flat earthers say different things. Some of them say there's an edge, but others say that there's more continents beyond that they don't want us to know about. Why in the hell they wouldn't, why they wouldn't want us to know it, I don't know. But Hiveless says, let's do it. Well, if you got money, we'll He says, no, but I got a dinghy. Yeah, there is no way in hell I'm going to Antarctica in a dinghy. We got to go properly or we'll die. Mr. Lee says, any chance you could introduce me to Lisa Rinna? She is hot as fuck. I don't know who that is. Or do you know Hiveless is from the UK? Y'all might be neighbors. Oh, well, never mind. Who the heck is Lisa Arena? Is it someone, like a celebrity? American actress? Days of Our Lives? Real Housewives? Huh. 58 years old. Well, you go for it, Mr. Lee. Yep. Bobby Ounce is here. Welcome. Days of Our Lives. I can't say that I really watched any of the shows that she played on, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, did you watch Firefly, TV show Firefly? Barry Brown seems surprised that Mr. Lee watched Days of Our Lives. Yeah. And you never know who watches the soap operas, man. Not my cup of tea, but used to watch it when you were in high school, Bobby. Plasma Moon World Map. I'm sorry, man. I just I just haven't seen any people. There's just, these are just claims. I kind of wonder if a lot of flat earthers, they just want so badly to believe in something like this that they'll, just believe claims without evidence. They haven't seen any evidence. There's no evidence that the moon is a plasma or a world map or any of that stuff. We got a bunch of astronauts that's been there. We can observe it personally every day. If it's plasma, why do the craters, why is the surface features always the same? Why does it look the way it does? It just looks like a crater filled, moon. Why does it get a shadow on it sometimes? It's like, how can you have a shadow like that on the plasma? It don't make any sense. Why does it affect the tides? The post office is soap opera. I gave up TV a long time ago. Yeah, TV's the devil. Mr. Lee says, yes, Barry, it was only thing playing in the Swedish prison I was banged up in for over a year. Oh, man, that sounds like hell, Mr. Lee. Is that how they torment you in Swedish prisons? They make you watch Days of Our Lives. We had over here, I don't remember. He's either in Arizona or New Mexico over here. There was a sheriff, and he had took a different approach to prison there, and because we got stupid shit like they're required to provide, you know, I guess they're required to provide cable to the prisoners, right? They have to have some kind of TV. And I'm like, nah, you're in trouble. You don't get TV, but whatever. So he kind of found a little, I guess, a loophole to dealing with that. They kept their cable, but he was able to get it where they only had 2 channels. There was he was being interviewed about this, and he let him keep the Disney Channel and the Weather Channel. His name is Arpaio, Sheriff Arpaio, and so they asked him. Okay, they said, well, we see the humor why you let them have the Disney Channel, but why did you let them have the Weather Channel? And he said, because I want these morons to know how hot it is when they're working on my chain gang. Oh, you're only joking about that? I got rid of cable, too much junk. Yeah, it's just money down a hole for, I mean, they want so much money for it too. And it's funny, people they're struggling and they'll keep their cable on. It's like, why are you keeping your cable on? There I remember this episode of Big Bang Theory where Penny was having money troubles, and Leonard was kind of taking a look at her finances, try to help her, cut some costs somewhere. And her power was off because she couldn't afford to pay for her electricity, so they cut her power off. And he's going through her bills and stuff, and he's like, said, well, maybe we can find some stuff where you can, tighten your belt a little bit. And he's like, oh, here's one. You don't need cable if you don't have electricity. She kind of gave him a glare. Mr. Lee says, no, my girlfriend watches The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills every week. Lisa Rinna is in it. See? That's one of those reasons why I probably couldn't have a girlfriend for any long period of time these days. I'd be like, I know. She'd be wanting to watch that, and I'd be like, nope, you can't watch it. Or although I don't even know if I'd get a TV at this point. I haven't had a TV for years. I don't see any reason to have one, and I can watch stuff online or do whatever, but on the computer, that's where my entertainment comes from. Like Big Bang Theory, I don't think I've actually watched a full episode of Big Bang Theory. I've just seen lots of like the clips and stuff like that. So, well, I take it back. I think I did watch some back when I had a TV, but that's so long ago I can't really remember them. Lisa Rinna is married to Harry Hamlin from Jason and the Argonauts. Never seen Firefly? Oh my gosh, man. Firefly, in my opinion, is one of the best sci-fi series there ever has been. There's no aliens, no robots, but it was a really good show, I thought. Anyway, the title I put on tonight was Shiny, and shiny was a word they used in the TV show Firefly, and it kind of meant like good, like I'm shiny, or kind of meant like cool, like, you'd use it kind of like that. They had a lot of words and stuff they used to mean different, and then sometimes they would use some Chinese, like Mandarin, I guess, to, like, they would cuss in Mandarin or something. But I don't know. It just came together so well, and it's funny that it came together so well because, the way it started. He just had this song, the theme song that they use, and it somehow inspired him to make this show just off the song, and it just worked. But they only did one season of it. I've seen lots of clips of The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian came out after I got rid of my TV, and I've seen, like, people, like, reviews of the show and synopses and stuff like that, but I haven't actually watched an episode of The Mandalorian. But part of my concern with The Mandalorian was what they were going to do to screw it up, because they were going to do something wrong. I mean, because the way they're doing everything anymore, they're messing everything up, and it looks like it turned out pretty damn good, really, compared to shit like the Star Wars movies and all that. Well, did we really even? Nobody really. There was no great desire to see an origin story of Han Solo, for example. Like, why do we need to see an origin story of Han Solo? And then they screwed that up because a long time ago I saw this video, and it's probably still on YouTube. Trying to remember the actor's name. Anyway, this is a young actor who has played a young version of a character played by Harrison Ford in like a movie or something. I can't remember what it was, but he had played a young Harrison Ford character before. And so he made this video where he's reciting the lines from Star Wars, where, Han Solo's in the bar and he's reciting those same lines. He's just perfect young Harrison Ford. Like, you could remake Star Wars with this guy and it would be just perfect. It's like the best possible actor you can imagine they could have picked would have been him. Were they even aware of this guy existed? I don't know. Maybe not. But they picked this other guy and made this stupid movie. Nobody was there. As far as I know, there was no outcry. We need to know where Han Solo came from. We got all we needed out of the original 3 Star Wars movies. Like, it was just Han Solo. There was no great mystery to in everybody's head, wondering, wow, where did Han Solo come from? There must be something more. No, nobody was thinking anything about that. They just made this movie, and I just don't know why they made that movie. And then it was, performed badly. Rogue One wasn't bad, but again, it was the same deal. Nobody. It's like they picked that line out of many. What are they called? Gave their lives to get these plans. There was no outcry for the backstory on how they got the Death Star plans. There just wasn't. It's It's like they picked the line out of the movie and it's like, let's make a movie out of this stupid line. I don't know why they did it. It wasn't great, wasn't horrible. You know, it was all right. But then the sequel trilogy came, and that was a holy shit clusterfuck. Yeah, I mean, it was all right. You know, it was like a one watcher for me. I won't ever probably watch it again because there's 1,000 other movies I'd rather watch a second time than Rogue One. But, you know, it was okay. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember. It's been a long time ago. Hiveless B says, stock up on food, get fit, watch amateur balloon footage of the Flat Earth Night boys. Been okay. See you later, Hiveless. Maybe we'll check out that video of yours in the future. Yeah. So why'd you ask about the Mandalorian? Are you watching it, or were you watching it? I think they just accidentally made it a good movie. You know, I bet they thought they were putting in Gina Carano. You know, she was gonna be this super tough woman and kick all the boys' asses, and then the Baby Yoda thing just caught fire, and you know, so that was a little lightning in the bottle there. Of course, now that they're probably going to try and blacklist old Gina Carano because she's not a far left psycho. That whole beep bop boop thing and all that stuff. I didn't realize at first, like when I was hearing about all that stuff, and then I realized that she was the mutant on Deadpool that fought Colossus, that woman. And that's where, you know what, they need to consult with me before they ever, on every freaking script, before they make any movies, they need to consult with me. Because, Colossus was in Deadpool 2 again. Where was, I think they called her Angel Dust. Where was she? There was almost, because I just saw the potential there, when she fought Colossus and her tip popped out and he's like, oh, and she's like, oh, so sweet. And then they fight. And one thing is pretty clear. I bet that it would be dangerous for a lot of women to be in a relationship with Colossus. But I thought that woman's tough enough that she'd be a perfect romantic interest for Colossus, and I don't hear anything about that in Deadpool 2. So, why didn't they put that in there a little bit? Give Gina Carano another movie, and yeah, because she's pretty much kicking his ass until the negatonic Negasonic teenage warhead had to jump in and save him. Raised by Wolves is the best thing you've watched this year? I've heard about it, but yeah, I haven't seen anything about it. So, Mr. Lee, did you happen to catch Squatch Talk earlier? It's pretty interesting little show there. They were bringing up some of the problem areas in the Bigfoot community on YouTube and whatnot. Even dropped some names about some channels that are problematic, like, you know, lame ass Swamp Ape. I mean, LA Swamp Ape and Bullshit Odyssey. I mean, Bigfoot Odyssey. Did I say that? No, you were sleeping? You watch it later? Yeah. Who is it they were calling out for faking shit? Sasquatch Chronicles, I think they were calling out. Or not all of them was. The tall ones did that, I think. Oh, someone else said something about it too. And kind of cover some stuff about how, you know, because they're that side of things, they'll act like you're the one preventing people from telling their stories, and we're like, no, you guys are the ones making a joke the whole thing because you're letting anyone say any kind of crazy shit on your shows without even challenging it in the slightest. Y'all are making a joke of the whole thing. You're causing people to make fun of this issue more than anything. We're not making fun. We're asking questions. You know, my goal isn't to make fun of a liar. My goal is to ask them questions or to straight out call them out for it. You know, or to say, hey, you know, you think maybe you got mental problems. Maybe you need help because you're seeing shit. You're hearing voices in your head and you think it's Sasquatch talking to you. You know, that's a possibility. Was Leon on there tonight? I don't think he came on. Joe was on there. The Tall Ones was on there. There's like 5 people on there. Or no, oh, not Squatch Talk. I'm sorry. Something to Squatch About. It was on Something to Squatch About. Let me get. Said the wrong show. Yeah. Mr. Lee says, I do watch Squatch Talk. Can't get that theme tune plays at the beginning of my head. Most days, you're a strange animal. Yeah. Well, I'd heard it. I mean, I've heard that song so many times because I'll watch Louder with Crowder quite a bit, and that's his theme song at the beginning of his show. So, the new Critical Guy was on her. Yeah, I said the wrong show, Bobby. I meant Something to Squatch About. Something to Sasquatch About. Sean's channel. I don't know why I said Squatch Talk. It's late. I'm tired. But, well, there was Who all was on there? JC. Well, you'll see if you go look. He had some. You're thinking of the guy that was on Squatch. I said Squatch Talk, but I meant something to Squatch or Sasquatch about. But yeah, Squatch Talk did have that new guy on there, a new skeptic on there. Yeah, Crowder's pretty cool. Yeah, something to Sasquatch about. Um, you know, I'm just surprised that like how few people have been on his show um, so far when I've been there. So I think just people just haven't, you know, haven't caught on that it exists. Um, but Sean he has gone above and beyond with his guest on his show. I think most people watching Sasquatch shows would um, be very pleasantly surprised if they go check out some of his interviews. And I mean, he busted out the gate in full gallop, as opposed to most channels that start out way slower. And he's done really good with his guests. So yeah, check it out. Yeah. Yeah, he shouldn't have my numbers. 6 people max. Well, I don't know how many my max has been, but on live, but he should have a lot more people. I just think a lot of people just haven't quite figured out his show exists yet or gotten used to. I think he's been holding to his schedule. I got it from him. His show is on the TV Guide. Where is it? So his show is, unless I got it wrong, it's Monday night at 8. It seems like it was on at 7 one night. Anyway, 8 Central on Monday night, which now that may be part of the issue, because that's when Beast of the Woods is on. So that may be what the problem is with the numbers on Monday night. And then he's on Wednesday night. I got him on the schedule at 7 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays. So I don't know who's the overlap with on that. He'd be right after New York Sasquatch Live, the Western New York Bigfoot research, or it's Bigfoot investigation group now. So it'd be right after that. So what does it overlap with? The Cryptoholic show's on every other week. They don't hardly get anybody there. And I think it's because they're not on every week. So people kind of get in a habit, like if they show up a couple times on a Wednesday and it's on the off week and they're not on, they're developing a habit of not finding that show on Wednesday night. So If I was them, I would go to every week so people can get used to it always being there. Um, so I don't know. There's not a lot of overlap going on. It don't look like on Wednesday night. Oh, there's the problem. There it is, right there. Bullshit Odyssey. Researchers report Wednesday night at 7. See, I've gotten used to not remembering it's Wednesday night because I don't watch that show anymore. Because, well, I'm banned, so I ain't supporting them. And plus, you can't ask questions over there. Um, if I'm gonna go on a tirade. Yeah, he's had some really good guests. Sean has the big boys and girls. Yep. And most importantly, unlike Bullshit Odyssey, he's keeping it to legit people. Logical. Not he's not going to invite Dr. Johnson on there to spin his whole bunch of bullshit like Carrie did without, spreading that absolute bullshit, which is holding everybody back because they're encouraging people to believe that bullshit. Yeah, Beasts on Monday at 8 Central. So I wonder if, I don't know why he picked that time, it might be just when he can, maybe it's a good time for him. Because I haven't asked him. I don't know if I would bring it up or not. I just know that when I was looking for a good time to have a paranormal show, I had this TV guide, so I can at a glance look here and see when the busy times are and when there's a lot of shows on, and that time on Saturday was reasonably convenient for me, and there's not a whole lot of shows on at that time. Like Tuesday night, forget it. Monday night, forget it. Those are some busy nights. Sunday's a little bit leaner than other days, and Saturday is. I guess some people don't like doing shows on the weekends. And I certainly didn't want to, pick a time where I would be at the same time as like Squatch Talk or something. I wouldn't want to do that because I want to watch Squatch Talk, and I want people to go to Squatch Talk. If I for some reason really needed to do it Wednesday night, on the one hand, maybe a fun experiment to see how many people could be drawn away from researchers' report. But it's a pretty big deal as far as how many people they got over there. So it'd be hard to compete with them. I don't know. I think he might want to reconsider that Monday at 8 Central. Beast is pretty well established, and he's not going to be able to draw very big numbers away from them. I'm more likely to want to, because he's taken a a no bullshit approach, and I like what he's saying. So, um, yeah, he's a good channel. It's another one. I mean, he was one of the guests on something this Sasquatch about tonight, and you know, talking about some of these issues in the cryptid community. Um, it's just we got. I think we need to start calling out the bullshit artists, and they're out there. The liars, the hoaxers. Some of these people, you know, I don't begrudge you making a book if you're being legit about it. If you're just lying, you know, then I don't like that. But if you're being real, if you authentically want to talk about the truth, then that's fine. Mr. Lee says, I can't believe Mogs hasn't got more subscriptions. WTF Mogi on Monster is my favorite show. Yeah. Well, he's done pretty good. He's got his own style and stuff going on there. He's getting some people. I don't know how many subscriptions he's got now or whatnot, or if he cares. He's just kind of hanging out, talking, same as some of us are. I'll jump over there and see. He's got 1.37K. So that's all right, I think. I'm not even to 100. Bobby Aunt says she agrees with you, Mr. Lee. Well, it's real late. It's 2:30 where I'm at. So I think we ought to cut her off. Have I? I don't know. I don't really know what fast is though. So, I need to. I need for things to work out so I can get the heck out of here and get somewhere else. And like the internet out here is never going to be good. We're way out here, and it is what it is. And I can't like even do like a hotspot on the cell phone because the cell phone signals are weak out here. Like you can't even hardly have a phone call. Gotta go try and find a signal. And I don't like the town that's closest to here. I've never have. I don't want to be in it. So hopefully I got an interview on Friday. So hopefully I get that job and so I'll get to where I like. I'm not sure why. Like I was trying to get an intro. The intro done for the random live so I could start having an intro on it, and it wouldn't work, and I don't know if it's the internet out here or what. So that's like I couldn't get it to. It's just a file chain changing the file type, and it wouldn't work. Now it's kind of a weird situation, but it should have worked, and it just didn't. And I'm like, I don't know. Have a great rest, everyone. You too, Bobby. Anyway, so yeah, once I get to work and I can get to a place that has decent internet, maybe some people can come on. I don't know. I don't know how much I'm kind of, because after some of these people are pretty, they're bad people. Like on Squatch Talk, where somebody came on there and tried to put something on the screen, through their, when they came in on the link. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if Pat ever said what it was exactly, but he said it was something that could have got the channel shut down. So there's some things you can't, let on your screen. And I guess he dealt with it, but so to let just random people come in is kind of a risk, and I don't know if I want to deal with that shit. It's almost like you would have to have, like, previously met with the person and had them sign a contract that they would not pull any kind of bullshit like that. Just like everything else in life, you gotta get it in writing before you let them come on the damn show. And maybe that would be going overboard, I don't know, but don't want the channel to get shut down because some prick don't like the fact that people like me are out here willing to say, hey, these people are liars, they're hoaxers, they're full of shit, they're actually damaging to the effort to find the truth. Trying to say that people like me are, because I'm willing to tell a person, say, look, that story doesn't sound believable. I think someone like Dr. Johnson should be called the fuck out. It's like, dude, there's probably thousands of people believing your bullshit. And then they're going to go telling other people that. They're like, yeah, this doctor, it's complete bullshit. That story is such complete nonsense. And he should be called out. Stop muddying the water so we can actually get somewhere. But we aren't. And you got channels like, channels soaking up all what little revenue there is to soak up, and then going on expeditions and then making a documentary and then putting it on their channel and then trying to say, we're giving the documentary away for free. No, your channel's making goddamn money. You may try to claim it doesn't make money, but it is. And then, of course, you don't find anything. And you got Zasky along, who is a pareidolia peddler, plain and simple. He's another bullshit artist. So, and bullshit artists are someone, so if they see anything in the woods that does look halfway legit, I don't know that it isn't somebody who staged something, who hoaxed something and didn't tell the rest of the group. So, you know what I mean? And so if someone's a known peddler of bullshit and he's along for the trip, he knows where they're going to be. He has the opportunity to make some shit happen. So, the creator of the expedition may not even know about it. Mr. Lee says, depends on what you want for the channel. One man band is safe, but guests are at another level. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have any worries at all about some of these people that, because I've gotten to know them, watching them on the shows. I know they're not gonna, so someone like Curious Cryptid, uh, Leon, Patrick Vaughn, Steenberg, some of these hosts, Pat, Sean, Joe, Mokes, would all be safe people to let on, But like the other night, somebody was all bent about something I said and wanted to come on camera. And well, for one, I don't think my internet can handle it. Two, I don't even think I don't even know if I had that option on the free version of StreamYard, because I was still on the free version of StreamYard. And three, I have some trepidation about bringing on a guest who I really don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to try and pull some shit like what happened on Squatch Talk. And four, I don't have to fucking talk to them if I don't want to. I mean, they don't have to be here in my chat. It's a free society, right? That's been my point with the chats, and with them banning people in the chat. Just let people talk. You don't even have to read the chat. Like I pretty much read everybody's chats right now, because there's not a whole lot of people. And even the people that were criticizing me the other night, I was reading what they were saying. But I don't have to. I'm not going to block them, because seriously, I don't have to read their chat. And I don't care if other people see what they say. But, that was one of the things that irritated me real bad about Bullshit Odyssey over there. They're all bent about shit you say in chat, or if you cuss. But then he'll have Zasky on there dropping F-bombs. And it's okay. On video. Audibly. Everybody can hear it. People can just skip over what people say in chat. If people don't like what I say, they don't have to read my chats. They'll just see my name and just skip to the next one. It don't make any goddamn sense, and it's hypocritical bullshit. So, whatever. Mr. Lee says, Mogs has said he would like to have you on the show. Yeah. I don't know what I really would bring for as a guest, but I don't know. If I get some decent signal where I don't have to go to the nearest town, like if I'm already there, that would be how I'd do that. It just wasn't working here. So, I don't know if I'm coming through well right now. So sometimes it stutters a little bit, I guess. Mark Godman says he's also asking you too, Mr. Lee. Yeah, Mr. Lee, when are we going to see you on camera? Walmart? Hey, I've used Walmart before. But that would require me going to town at night on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Mr. Lee says, Mark, there you are. Good day, man. Yeah, I think Mark's been working and stuff. So he's been in and out. Yeah, he says, was here earlier, in and out, having work done on the house. I don't know, unless you guys got something else to talk about, I'm probably going to shut her down. Real late. Let's see here. Yep. So I don't know when I'm going to do another random live because they're random. That's, you know, just whenever I got a chance. Mark says, thanks, Lockbeard. Still reckon you're Aussie. Thank you. Hey, I don't know if you been hearing rumors of internment camps down there in your country. You know, you heard anything about that, Mark? This release says, I best start the day too. See you, Lockbeard. Don't work too hard. Mark. All right, man. See you next time. Whenever that is. Yeah. So I guess we'll end it. And I don't know if you guys if you guys have any kind of ideas for stuff to talk about on the shows, put them in the comments, I guess, and maybe we'll talk about them. Mark Dobbin says, still in lockdown, heavier restrictions in Melbourne. Yeah. Some of the stuff I've been seeing happening in some places down there, it's well, it'd be a shit hits the fan situation up here anyway. I don't know how people feel about such things down there, but you know, Americans are used to being, having, well, some of us, we don't like people telling us what to do. It could interest your wife if talked involved extraterrestrials. Oh yeah. Yeah, it'd be really interesting if we could find actual proof of something. There's so little that's actual proof. There's people telling their stories. Well, I got abducted. Well, you sure you didn't have a dream? And then of course there's claims of people having objects in their bodies, but then how do I prove that? It's kind of a difficult one. Then people try to say, well, why is see, this person saw the same thing that person saw. Well, yeah, because that they both heard the story and description from someone before. Everyone's aware of the grays. It's in everybody's head. So it increases the probability that someone might just have a dream, or their eyes might play tricks on them and think they saw that thing, but it was stuck in their head because they've seen, In Search Of and all these shows all these years. It's hard to tell just how much it's just a mental thing, a psychological thing. So I don't know. But I mean, sure, we could talk about aliens sometime. But yeah, I heard they were putting people in internment camps down there. I'm pretty sure I'd be knocking down a fence if that happened here. They try to put me in an internment camp, we're going to have problems. Well, Mark and whoever else is still here, probably going to end it. It's not true. You don't think so? There's no internment camps that you're aware of? We're in the wee hours of Thursday morning here. Gonna be Mogs tonight. Beast TV. And who knows what else. But so I guess I'll go ahead and end it, and I'll talk to everybody next time. Have a good one.